Yo, what's going on YouTube? So the devs have just released a developer update. I guess I'm saying just released it, but by the time you've seen this video, it's probably already been out for a while. I want to make a quick video and just kind of go over it and give my thoughts on it. I kind of skimmed through it. I saw that everybody was excited for it, so I kind of wanted to like take it easy and take my time and kind of come at it and like talk about it whenever I was ready and make a quick video about it. So, here's a big update. We're also going to be touching base on this on my podcast. If you guys haven't been around my stream lately, I am bringing back the podcast. I know I did a few episodes in the past, and it's going to be coming back. We have a really good episode coming up on Sunday, featuring me, Otsdarva, Ralph, and Mathman200. It's going to be a really good episode, so feel free to catch that live on my Twitch channel at 7 p.m. Eastern, or I'll upload it afterwards, so you can catch it here on YouTube. So it's up to you. Either way, sorry. Quick sellout. Let's get back to what we're talking about. Developer update. They're talking about an upcoming. It's talking about upcoming changes. It doesn't say specifically in the mid chapter, but it says just upcoming changes. So I'm not exactly sure. Everyone's been getting pumped and being like, "Oh man, this is gonna be the next mid chapter," but they don't say specifically. It just says upcoming changes. So I'm kind of curious to see, maybe like towards the bottom it'll say like, hey, this is in the mid chapter, but essentially this is just saying, hey, there's a lot of stuff. They also said that they couldn't fit it all in one post, and the writer passed out halfway through typing this. So apparently, which first off, like what? And second off, I think that means that there's more. Like this isn't even the end of it. There's more than this. So let's talk about this, and then we'll maybe worry about what else is gonna come later. So for killer updates, we have the Trapper, and this is exciting. This is really exciting because the Trapper has needed changes for so long. Starting things off with a bang, or rather a snap, we've made a new series of small changes to the Trapper. Did you know that the number of bear traps that spawn on the map is random? That's right. Each trial will spawn between 4 and 6 bear traps at random. Now you can take this interesting little fact and completely forget about it because that's no longer how it works. Now 6 traps will always spawn, not including the traps you load and carrying. This takes away some of the random element in playing Trapper. See, I knew about this, and I thought it had to do with the map size. But if it was actually true random, that's interesting. I was always told by people, and I just kind of blindly believed it, that it mattered. This kind of went off the size of the map. Like large maps would give you 6 traps, and small maps would give you 4 traps. But I didn't actually have any idea. I didn't actually like follow up and make sure it was factual. I kind of just believed it. But maybe it was actually just true random. That's interesting. But now it's going to be 6 no matter what, which is really good. This killer needs some consistency in this kit, for the love of God. It also says having more traps is great and all, but wouldn't it be nice to carry more than one without add-ons? We sure think so. This is written like a freaking infomercial. Like I feel like it's like 4 a.m. and I haven't slept yet, and I'm seeing an infomercial about some weird product. Well, wouldn't you think it'd be great to carry more than one? We sure think so. The Trapper will now be able to carry and start with 2 bear traps by default. Which is actually sick. This will help you get up and running quicker without relying on add-ons. The Trapper's bag add-ons have been adjusted. Or repurposed accordingly. So it sounds like the bags are either. I'm curious to know what's going to happen to the bags. Very interesting. So you start with 2 traps by default. That's amazing. That's a change that people have been asking for like literally years. And it's such a minor detail, but oh, it's gonna feel so good for Trapper players, man. This is such a god tier change. That is so good. Finally, on the subject of add-ons, we've done a pass on some of his least used add-ons and increased their effects, removed their downsides, or gave them new effects entirely. And they gave us 2, I guess, like teasers. Tension Spring is going to be a new purple add-on that says a high tension spring that snaps back into place after being stretched. A bear trap resets 2 seconds after a survivor escapes from it. That one is interesting because a survivor needs to step in the trap and then get out of it. And then also just like not realize that you have this add-on. I feel like this add-on isn't actually going to be that good because I think once survivors learn about it, they're just going to like look at the trap 2 seconds after they get out and make sure it doesn't get sprung, right? I guess that's assuming you're not chasing them away. I mean, I guess the majority of the time you'll probably be running at them, and if they escape, they'll like, you know, be running and not be able to check it. But I feel like in a lot of situations, this might end up not being as good as it seems, but I do think it's interesting. At the very least, it's intriguing, and I like that. I like that it's intriguing. So that's cool. Trapper Sack is also a new purple add-on. I guess this is probably going to take over a Stitch Bag, I would assume. A crude leather sack suitable for foraging. All bear traps are carried at the beginning of the trial instead of spawning on the map. Bear traps cannot be picked up. That is spicy. That is spicy. Mwah, that is spicy. Okay, so that's interesting. That's going to save you so much time in the early game because you're literally just going to have all your traps right off the rip. That's so good. But bear traps not being able to pick up that's scary. When you set a trap, it is there for good. There is no moving it. So for instance, if the survivors are aware of one of your trap placements and they continue to disarm it over and over again, there's nothing you can really do about it. This feels like an add-on that I don't know if they're doing this intentionally or not. This feels like an add-on that you're going to 100% need to run with Iridescent Stone, which if you guys don't know, that's the ultra rare where your bear traps will automatically reset themselves every 30 seconds. I feel like that's absolutely going to be needed with this add-on, because otherwise you're just going to be running around and resetting the same traps like constantly, right? Like they basically need to set themselves so that survivors are wasting their time disarming them over and over again, and instead of you having to actually go manually do it, it just happens by itself, right? I feel like that's basically needed with this add-on. Otherwise, I don't know if that upside is worth the downside. I guess I'd have to play with it, but that's a pretty big downside. Not being able to pick up traps at all is kind of a big deal. So that's cool though. I like that they're definitely getting creative and ambitious with their add-ons, which is really cool to see. I'm pretty excited for that. Okay, here's the big one. Here's the real big one, dude. The real big news. The Spirit. The Spirit's been a strong killer since the release, and with that in mind, we've made some changes that aim to increase our skill ceiling whilst also giving survivors some counterplay. Good one. When close to the Spirit's husk, survivors will not receive any indication the Spirit is phase walking. Originally, this was intended to be a fun mind game. Is she using her power or is she faking it? Though in practice, it often doesn't feel that way. This lack of feedback forces you to make a guess and hope it pays off, which can be great when it works on your favor, but it also feels awful when it doesn't. True. To add more skill to the Spirit's counterplay, we're making two changes. Any survivor within 24 meters of the Spirit will now hear a directional phase sound. This lets you know whether or not she is phasing, and also gives you a rough idea of which direction she's coming from. The Spirit's footsteps will now kick up dust when she is phasing. Keen survivors may be able to pinpoint where she is, but tall grass and other obstacles may make it difficult. Interesting. These two changes aim to add more skill into playing as and against the Spirit and reduce the reliance on coin flips, where you make a guess and hope it pays off. Which I think is a really good thing, because I do think that kind of coin flip feeling that you get against Spirit is definitely what feels so bad. It feels like you don't really have a reliable way to like really defend yourself against her, right? And really do anything. So I do like this a lot. This is really interesting. Although I have to wonder, is this going to be too much? I'm wondering if this is going to be too much. So you're going to hear the direction that she's coming, and you're also going to be able to see dust kick up. I feel like this is really important. Like this is like, I feel like I already know what this is going to be, right? There was actually a bug a while back where this was a thing. So they're kind of just making that bug and like turning it into like intended design, which is really cool. But this is something I've never seen before. I think the kicking up dust is going to be really important. If it's like very subtle and hard to see, then I think it'll be good. But if this is kind of like really obvious and really easy to see, this might make Spirit actually like utter dog shit, which is not good. Like, don't get me wrong, I hate Spirit. I hate going against Spirit. I don't really enjoy playing as her because it feels like it's just so free. But I don't want her to be bad. Like, I like having strong killers. I think there should be really strong killers that are capable of just shitting on survivors, right? So I hope this isn't too much, although we will see. I mean, I guess worst case scenario, if she ends up being like weak after this, I don't see it being a thing. I think she'll still be strong. But if in some weird world she ends up being weak, they can always just buff her in the future anyway. So I guess this is definitely good. It's definitely a good direction. Overall, this is an amazing direction. It's at least giving survivors some actual reliable counterplay or something to work with, right? They at least just have something to work with as far as going against her, instead of just being completely in the dark all the time. So god tier changes, literally god tier changes, man. Additionally, we've done a pass on some of the Spirit's add-ons to bring them in line and make the lesser used ones more appearing, like the Trappers. Some of these changes are small tweaks, while others are completely new effects. Let's see. Wakazashi Saya, this is the one that used to make you go faster when coming out of your phase. During Yamamuka's haunting, use the active ability button to return to the husk and end the... Whoa, really? You're going to be able to port back to your husk. Huh. That's pretty spicy. Because I feel like what... Is that ever really going to be useful? That is interesting. That feels like it's not going to be insanely strong, but I feel like there's going to be very niche situations where that's going to be really... It's going to lead to some really interesting mind games. Huh. Like, what if you're, like, standing still at a pallet? You can, like, phase to the other side of the pallet and then either reappear or hit the button and go back to the other side. It kind of makes it so you can choose what side of the pallet you reappear on. That's interesting. There's a lot of things you can do with that. I'm curious to see how that plays. All right, and then this other one, Senko Hanabi. I actually don't recognize what this one is by name. When Yamamuka's haunting ends, the Spirit's husk explodes? The Spirit's husk explodes in any vault locations within 4 meters are blocked for 5 seconds. It explodes? Like there's a bomb. Like there's a bomb in the husk. The fuck does that mean? It explodes? Is it gonna literally blow up? Or is it just gonna make like an explosion sound? I don't know if I've ever seen the term explode in like a description in DbD before. I know there's like explosion sounds with like the generators, but just seeing the word explode is kind of intimidating. I'm gonna be real with you. That is intimidating. Jesus. Okay, anyway, just as far as how strong this is though, vault locations within 4 meters are blocked for 5 seconds. So basically you can start your phase near some windows. You could just insta-phase, really. Like, you can kind of just, like, insta-phase and just block the windows really quick. That's, They're only blocked for 5 seconds, though, so it's really not that big of a deal. But I feel like that's going to make playing certain tiles, like LT walls, kind of insane. Because you could just basically take one of the windows and make it completely useless. Interesting. I mean, I like it. I like it. These are very creative. Again, I like it a lot. Killer add-ons update. What does moderately mean? How much more is tremendously compared to considerably? If you ever found yourself in this situation, you're not alone. We use descriptive words like these to keep descriptions simple, but they end up causing as much confusion since it's not immediately clear how much they're doing. With that in mind, we've done a pass on all killer add-ons to list their exact effects. What? We plan to extend this to the rest of the game? What? Thank you fucking God. Holy dude. To explain how big of a deal this is to you guys, this has been a problem since this game has come out. There's been times when like tremendously means like 20%, right? Which is like, it seems like a decent number, but then you got to keep in mind when the pig first came out, her add-on combat straps made you crouch and uncrouch at twice the speed. Just to give you a little history lesson, when pig first came out, it used to take 2 seconds to crouch and 2 seconds to uncrouch. And combat straps text said, I think it just said slightly reduces the time it takes to crouch. I think that's all that it said. Just that. And it was such a bad description because it said slightly and it also said just crouching. But in reality, what it did is it made both crouching and uncrouching go from 2 seconds to 1 second. So it was literally a 100% boost to both, even though it only said slightly. It was such a horribly worded, like, compared to other things that are tremendous, that are like 20%, it just makes no sense, right? There's no consistency. You see the word slightly and you think it's going to be slightly, but sometimes slightly means insane amounts, right? It's such a horrible way of doing things. So this is actually amazing. I'm so excited. We're actually going to be able to see like for instance, if you have like a hillbilly add-on that makes charge speed faster, it'll say like cuts off like 0.3 seconds or something, right? Like that's so, or maybe like a percent at the very least, right? Like cuts off 6% or something, you know? That's actually so sick. That is so good. On top of that, killer add-ons that apply a status effect will now have a brief description of what that status effect does, which is pretty nifty. I honestly think this game needs some kind of a I think this game needs like a little thing where you can like click on a status effect or something, or maybe like in the middle of a game when you're affected by a status effect, you can like hit escape and there'll be like a little list of the effects that you're hit by that'll explain what they do. I think for a new player, trying to learn all the status effects is probably a major pain in the ass. So this is definitely a good step in the right direction. While our designers were going through hundreds of killer add-ons one by one to update the descriptions, I also noted down a few for changes as well. There's far too many to list here, but we've changed some add-ons for the following killers. Billy, which is good because his add-ons suck ass. Nurse. I kind of like Nurse's add-ons, but I guess some of them are a bit weak. The Shape, okay, Myers has like some of the most OP add-ons in the game. His are like insane, but they're also really unique, and I hope they don't ruin them because I actually like his add-ons, even though they're really strong. So, the Hag, please get rid of Mint Rag. Mint Rag is horrible. Fuck Rusty Shackles too. Both those add-ons, throw them in the trash. The Oni, hopefully they're nerfing Top Knot and also making some of the more. He has a lot of ones that are kind of useless, so I'm kind of hoping they make the useless ones good. And maybe like Top Knot could use a nerf. I think that's it, just Top Knot. I think everything else is fine. Hopefully they buff some of his other ones. Blight, his add-ons are fucking ridiculous. They really need to just nuke his add-ons. Like, the fact that this killer is so strong baseline. Like, even without add-ons, Blight is one of the strongest killers in the game, and his add-ons are bonkers good, dude. They really need to just nuke his add-ons. Wraith is kind of worrying to me. I like Wraith's add-ons. I think Wraith's add-ons add a lot to his kit. I don't really want to see any of them nerfed. I think they're all really unique and interesting and give him a lot of cool playstyles, and I don't want to see any of them really nerfed. So hopefully this is just a buff to, like, some of his other add-ons, but hard to say. Pig's add-ons are I can make a whole video about Pig and her add-ons, so I'll just save it and say we'll see what's going on there. And Ghostface also needs some work. His add-ons are dog shit. Basically, aside from the ones where you get your power back, they're all terrible. They're all terrible. It says these changes focus mostly on unused add-ons or add-ons that are too weak/powerful, which is what I expected. So hopefully a lot of it, I'm hoping that it's primarily on unused add-ons. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping this is primarily them just taking the add-ons that are garbage and making them less garbage. I mean, obviously, I do think there's some add-ons that are a bit over-tweaked and probably should be nerfed, but I really want to see the bad add-ons be made useful. So hopefully that's what it is. Okay, perk updates. Variety is the spice of life, and incidentally, Dead by Daylight matches too. In an ongoing effort to give more options to choose from, we're updating a huge list of perks. Without further ado, let's run through some of them quickly. They keep saying, like everywhere in this post, they keep saying like some of it and not all of it. Okay, this is really exciting. This is also super exciting. This is something that's been needed done in this game for a long time. Vigil, nice and simple. We're increasing the recovery rate from 20% to 30%. Additionally, Vigil will now increase the recovery rate of the broken, exposed, and oblivious side effects as well, where applicable. In short, more situations where it's useful, and even faster recovery too. I like this, but I'm gonna say what I think this perk should have been, and I've been saying this for a very, very long time. I think they should ditch the exposed, and I think they should ditch exhausted. So this basically makes all status effects go away faster. I think they should ditch maybe exposed and maybe exhausted, because those two are I think the most impactful. And they should crank the number up to something crazy, like 50%, 60%, 80%, 100%. Literally make you recover twice as fast. I think if they ditch exhaustion and they ditch exposed, I think those could be actually, even if they leave exposed, it could be okay, right? So that way the perk would actually be like an anti-status effect perk. Because as it is right now, this perk is anti-status effect. But what happens if you bring it in and the killer doesn't put on any status effects? Like, what if you just don't get hit with anything that Vigil affects? I feel like the effect that Vigil gives you just isn't strong enough to warrant bringing in a perk that has a chance to get no value whatsoever, right? That's how I feel about it. Like, a lot of times you bring in Vigil, it'll do absolutely nothing at all. I guess if you're running an exhaustion perk, it'll do that, but I feel like I would like to see this more, instead of just being, hey, slap this on with an exhaustion perk and recover from exhaustion faster. Instead of that, I would like to see it more like, hey, this is a really strong anti-status effect, right? Like, if you want to be a good team player, you can bring this in for your team. Or if you're just concerned about dealing with some of the status effects, just take this in and you won't really have to worry about them as much. So this is good, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that they're buffing it, but I kind of think as it is here, I think it's still not going to be great. I don't know how many people are going to run this. Like, I guess the fact that it affects broken can make it work with things like for the people and like deliverance and stuff, right? Like, I guess this opens up a lot more synergy with survivor perks. I guess I just wish it was more. I wish it was more anti-killer status effect and more than like being a perk that you combo with other survivor perks. But hey, you know, what are you gonna do? I'll take it, you know. Babysitter/guardian. Another small tweak. The rescued survivors will now receive a speed boost for 8 seconds in addition to not leaving scratch marks or pools of blood. Wait, are they changing Babysitter's name to Guardian? Is that why that says that? Because I know that's one of the ones from the Stranger Things chapter, so maybe they're changing it to Guardian. I don't know if they said that and I just missed it, but anyway, the rescued survivor. So they get a speed boost. So basically, when you unhook somebody, they get a speed boost and they leave no scratch marks or pools of blood. The aura rating duration has also been doubled. Okay. So you and the killer see each other's auras for like a very long amount of time, and the person that you unhook peepo speeds, and they also don't leave any marks. That's just a good tweak. I honestly think Babysitter is a little bit underrated, honestly. Like, it's not a good perk, don't get me wrong, but I think this perk even before this week was a little bit underrated, so I like this. I'm curious to see if this will make people try it a little bit more, because I honestly don't think it's that bad. 8 seconds of speed boost is a very long time too. I'm wondering, like, is this gonna be like a hastic speed boost? Okay, is this gonna be like hope? Is this gonna be like a 7% hope speed, or is this gonna be exhaustion speed? I'm gonna be honest with you, and this might sound extreme, but I would be totally okay with this being like exhaustion speed. Like, let the person that's getting unhooked get the fuck out of there, right? Like, this could be like a really big anti-tunnel thing where it's like, hey, I unhooked this guy, they bolt, they are gone. Maybe 8 seconds of exhaustion is too much. I gotta remember, adrenaline is 5 seconds of exhaustion, and you can get really far with adrenaline. You know what? No, I'm gonna say it. 8 seconds of like exhaustion level speed. You know what? I'll say it. I'd be cool with it. I'd be a-okay with it. I think it would be okay. It would just really, really help you not get tunneled, and I think anything that's anti-tunnel is always a good thing in this game. So We'll see how that goes. That's pretty exciting. Okay, for the people, can create some amazing moments, but the trade-off for being broken can make it really risky to justify using. We're decreasing the duration of the broken effect from basically a minute and a half to a minute. Okay, that's a pretty straightforward buff. All right, seems cool. I like it. For the people, it's a fun perk, so it only being a minute will maybe make us see it more, but I don't know. We'll see. Retribution. Okay. Previously, Hex Retribution could only make a survivor oblivious if they cleanse a dull totem. Now, interacting with any kind of totem will make them oblivious. Additionally, we're increasing the aura reading duration once a Hex totem is cleansed to 15 seconds. Damn. Okay, so just more obliviousness and a little bit. I think this is the bigger thing. Honestly, making survivors like oblivious is kind of hard. You know what? Actually, this could work. I was going to say making survivors oblivious is honestly really hard sometimes because as a killer, you don't know who's oblivious, right? But the fact that it works with all totems now, even hex totems, means that you can combine this with something like Thrill of the Hunt. Or maybe if you're even just paying really close attention to where your totems are and one gets broken, then you'll know that there's a survivor in that area who's oblivious. So you know what? Actually, I like this. I actually like this a lot. This will actually give some interesting interactions. What if you combine this with like Hex Plaything? They'll be oblivious, and then once they cleanse their totem, they'll be oblivious again. They'll be double oblivious. They'll never stop being oblivious. Huh. I like that. I think that opens it up to like a lot of different synergies, so that's cool. I like that. Okay, Blood Favor. The perk shipped with very safe conditions, so it didn't get out of control. Upon reflection, we feel comfortable with removing some of these restrictions. Hex Blood Favor will no longer have a cooldown and will also activate upon successful special attacks. Wait, what? Wait a minute. No. No. Whoa, this is the first thing on the whole page that I've disliked. This is gonna be fucking stupid on Huntress. This is gonna be absolutely redonkulous on Huntress. Like, if you get a hit at a pallet, they just die. Like, if you get a hatchet hit at a pallet, they just die. They just literally die. Right? I don't know about this. I think they could have just increased the range, right? Like, I think the range was too short. Because on M1 killers, what happens is you hit them with an M1 and then they just hold W and then they make it to a different pallet because they get so much distance. I think they could have like increased the range or like maybe given you built-in cooldown or something. I don't know about the whole like working with special attacks. I like the whole like removing cooldown. Dude, this last line scares me. I'm gonna be honest, that scares me. I feel like that's gonna be insane on Huntress. Like, absolutely, or maybe even like Trickster too. Like, bonkers on ranged killers, dude. I don't know about that one. I am not so sure. That sounds like it might be a little out of control. But hey, I mean, honestly, if Blood Favor ends up being OP, then at least we'll see a new perk, right? At least the meta will get shaken up. So even if it does end up being OP, whatever. You know, we'll just run with it. Hex and Third Seal. Just like the above, we've added special attacks to Hex and Third Seal as well. This should make the perk more practical and killers to focus more on dealing damage with their power. Okay, so you can make people blind with any killer with any hits. That actually does open that perk up to a lot more options. I think that's just a good change. That's just an overall good change. Nothing really else to say about it. Thrill of the Hunt. With boon perks... Oh, I forgot. Are they going to touch on boons? With boon perks making their way to the game, more on this soon, we decided to give Thrill of the Hunt some love by extending the speed penalty from cleansing to blessing as well. Okay, but we don't really know what that means. So blessing, I'm pretty sure, is like... when you turn a totem into a boon totem, I guess, but we don't really know much about it yet. So like, I guess it's gonna make making a boon totem take longer. I don't know. I guess it's hard to say because we don't really know how this works. But this feels like a buff. This feels like a counter to boon totems, I guess, even though we don't really know much about them yet. All right, last thing, item and character kill switch. Last but not least, let's talk about a game health feature. The item and character kill switch. With over 50 playable characters and their cosmetics, nearly 200 perks, and hundreds more add-ons and offerings in the game, sometimes things do break. Yeah, sometimes? Sometimes? You want to maybe go back and rethink your wording? Rarely things will break in a way that makes them exploitable. And that can make the next week or two that can make the next week or two before a fix really rough. Agreed. Enter the kill switch. It's actually a lot nicer than it sounds. The kill switch allows us to disable anything that's causing an issue without needing an update. When something breaks and becomes exploitable, we switch it off until it's fixed. This is something we've been able to do with maps for a while, now to great effect. Disabled items and characters will be clearly marked and cannot be selected. This is really sick. What this means to you, when that one thing breaks and people start to abuse it, you want to play against it for a week. Yes, dude. Man, if you guys haven't been playing DbD for a long time, there has been a lot of patches, a lot of patches over the years where something majorly will break. Something will be super exploitable. Like, for instance, there was a patch where Legion's add-ons that made you mend faster would infinitely stack every time you use them. So if you just keep hitting people in frenzy, it would get to the point where it would take you legitimately like 90 seconds to mend. It was absurd. Like things like that, and then people would just abuse them. Like almost every other game would be a Legion with those add-ons. Like, oh man, we've had some painful patches in the past. And this is sick. Like, I did notice that they were able to do that with maps, which is awesome. The fact that they're able to do this with like items and killers now is really, really good. That's actually like low-key a really like, I feel like most people that look at this are probably going to get way more excited about like the killer changes and all like the rebalances, but this is actually something to get hype about. Like, as somebody that's been playing this game for a long time and has seen some shit, like I've seen some shit, okay? Maybe it's just like PTSD triggering in me, but this is one of the most exciting things on the whole page, in my opinion. So that is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. That's the end of the page. Hopefully they give us another one soon, because this one was really good. They kept hinting at having more to say. Like, they hinted over and over and over again at having more to say. So I'm really hoping that we get another one soon that'll maybe will tell us a little bit more. And this was really sick. Let me guys know your guys' thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on everything. Like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about any of these changes. Is there anything that you're really excited for? Is there anything that you're dreading? Is there something that I said that you think is absolutely stupid that you disagree with? Feel free to let me know. Also, let me know if you guys like these types of videos. I kind of just made this video on a whim just because I just wanted to make something, because I haven't really made any content lately. If this is something you guys enjoy, I'm down to do this. Whenever they have like big announcements like this, I can just give my thoughts on it, right? But I mean, obviously, if this video doesn't do well, and if you guys don't give me that feedback, then I might not bother doing these in the future. So, you know, we'll just wait and see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was a nice little rant. I had a good time just talking about stuff, and I hope you guys enjoyed listening. And thank you guys for watching. Leave the video a like if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel and all that stuff as well. And I hope you guys have an awesome, good rest of your night. You know what? Yeah, sure, I'm gonna roll with it. I hope you guys have an awesome, good rest of your night. And I will catch you guys next time. I'm out of here. See ya. Take care. See ya.